Now at 11. The aftermath of this deadly shootout and standoff in a New Jersey community.
We have rifles covering that rooftop. We have also things covered behind buildings and vehicles.
A police officer killed.
We cried with the family.
Along with innocent bystanders.
I was worried about a stray bullet coming in and hitting me and all.
As thousands of school children are ordered to take cover.
We couldn't leave class. It was really terrifying.
Now, the discovery that triggered the deadly chain of events. Team coverage of the chaos starts now.
We have been following the fray, the response, and the investigation for nearly 11 hours since the first shots were fired. And tonight we continue to learn new information about the suspects, the victims, and the possible motive for this firefight. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Stacey Bell.
And I'm Stephen Holt, live tonight along Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here in the city of Jersey City. Still crime scene tape and police cars behind me. This is one of two locations in Jersey City where these armed suspects opened fire in a barrage of bullets in a gun battle with police out here. The hours-long firefight ended about 2.5 blocks from where I'm standing here tonight. This was at a kosher supermarket, but it began just about a mile away at Bayview Cemetery. Right now, the death toll tonight, it stands at 6 from this shootout. A 39-year-old Jersey City police officer and father of 5. 3 innocent civilians are dead, and the 2 suspects are dead. 2 other police officers and a civilian were also injured by the gunfire. And just a few moments ago, Mayor Stephen Fulop here in Jersey City revealed some new developments in the early stages of this investigation. The locations where the shooters attacked may have been targeted. We have our team of reporters covering this story tonight, all angles of this tragedy. We'll begin with News 4's Ray Vieta. Ray.
Stephen, the gunfire may be over, but the investigation is very much underway. You could see many streets blocked off at this hour, families in mourning, and details continue to develop. As you mentioned, the mayor tweeted out late tonight, the supermarket at the center of this situation may have been targeted.
Shots fired from the target.
I received multiple shots fired from the target.
The call for help came around 12:30 Tuesday afternoon.
We believe we see what appears to be a barrel of a weapon on the south side of the target building, 223 MLK. Can't see anything further at this time.
Jersey City police called to a kosher supermarket on MLK Drive. As they arrived, they found out the suspects were connected to another shooting on Garfield Avenue near a cemetery. An officer, Detective Joseph Seals, shot and killed there.
We believe that he was killed while trying to interdict these bad guys.
Police believe the suspects, a man and woman, were linked to a murder in Bayonne this past weekend. The detective was shot while approaching them. Then the 2 suspects drove off in a stolen U-Haul van and ended up at the supermarket. That's where the standoff began. A standoff ending in a barrage of bullets.
Another number of gunshots. We're going to back up again.
Witnessed by our own crews. It sent neighbors scrambling, schools into lockdown, and police looking for cover.
All you heard was a hail of gunfire. Constant hail of gunfire. I'm 62. I've never seen nothing like it before in my life.
The suspects were killed in the shootout. Police say inside the supermarket they also found 3 people dead. The chief says the suspects also shot 2 officers. Inside the stolen U-Haul, they recovered some sort of explosive device.
This was an incredibly tough day for Jersey City and for the entire state of New Jersey.
A sad day for a community, and even sadder for several families left without loved ones after a day filled with chaotic violence.
The 2 other officers injured were released from the hospital and are back with their families. They are expected to be okay. As far as this investigation, as we mentioned, the mayor tweeted tonight that the supermarket may have been targeted. The chief tonight cautioning this investigation may take months. We're live in Jersey City tonight. I'm Ray Vieta, News 4 New York.
Okay, Ray, you were just talking about that concern that this store behind me may have been deliberately targeted and the people inside of that store were targeted. Let's get the latest on the investigation now. Our chief investigative reporter, Jonathan Dean's joining us now with some new information on this case. John, bring us up to speed.
You know, Stefan, it's just too soon to know motive. That according to several leading officials, but there are a lot of troubling factors, including a review of surveillance video that shows exactly what happened outside that store. The mayor says the store was targeted, but why? Criminal, hate crime, terror? Officials say they have no hard information yet. Officials tell us surveillance video shows after the Jersey City police detective was murdered, the male and female suspects drove the U-Haul directly to the kosher market. We're told the video shows the pair shot a Jewish man on the street and then ran into that kosher store where victims died and the shootout with police ensued. The suspects were armed with long guns and lots of ammo, and there was a pipe bomb type device and with materials, but we're told that may not have been operational. And officials are looking into possible connections between the suspects today and this weekend's murder in Bayonne. A livery driver named Michael Rumberger found killed in his car, and the U-Haul van is believed linked to that incident. Unclear why Rumberger might have been targeted. Those close to him say he was not Jewish. The male suspect is about 47 years old in the shooting. The woman accomplice a bit younger. No known ideological background as of now. And we are told he had only a few past minor crimes. Officials not releasing the names of the two suspects. And so far, we are told no social media postings found indicating any prior warning or threat. But again, this investigation is very early on. We are told from several law enforcement sources they believe more than 100 shots fired in all, perhaps even higher than that. The case for now still headed by the Hudson County prosecutor, but a command post with FBI and ATF agents working alongside police. One senior official said late tonight, it really is just too soon to know motive. Again, the mayor says it appears the store was targeted. In the newsroom, I'm Jonathan Dietz. Back to you.
Okay, John Dietz with those late-breaking details. We told you that Detective Joseph Seals was the first casualty of this afternoon's shootout. He was a 15-year police veteran, had been with the Jersey City Police Department since 2006. But tonight, News 4's Rana Novini continues her coverage. She's live at Jersey City Medical Center with some exclusive new details about the civilian lives that were lost in today's shootout. Rana?
Yeah, and Stephan, I spoke to a local rabbi who's been in close contact with a surviving victim and also to those who believe they have lost a loved one. Everyone trying to make sense of this tragedy. 39-year-old Detective Joseph Seals dedicated his life to serving Jersey City. On the force since 2006, he was also a husband and father of 5.
We cried with the family. It's one of the hardest things that you ever have to see in your entire life. I mean, nobody expected, I'm sure, Detective Seals not to return home. I'm sure his children expected him to return home.
The mayor of Jersey City sharing condolences as the community grieves the officer's loss and the loss of 3 innocent people inside a kosher grocery store. The store, a staple for the tight-knit Hasidic community, now shocked to learn the store may have been targeted.
As a strict kosher shop, this is the only one.
If that's the case, that's very scary. We generally feel very safe here in New Jersey and United States, but we can't take anything for granted.
Chabad Rabbi Moshe Shapiro says he's in contact with family members of the assumed victims, everyone awaiting official confirmation. He also spoke to a man who was shot inside the store but escaped.
He actually got hit in 2 places. He showed me on his right side of his chest and his stomach, and he has shrapnel. He's scratched up, bleeding on his face and all over.
As Jersey City prepares to lay to rest a dedicated officer and 3 beloved community members, the rabbi offers a message of hope.
As human beings, we can bring a little bit more light and a little bit more positivity into the world. That's the best answer to darkness and to this shocking news.
The Jersey City Police Department says that Detective Seals was a leader in getting guns off of the streets. The names of the other victims have not been officially released. Again, family members awaiting official confirmation of their deaths. We have learned that 2 of those victims are natives of Brooklyn. Stephan, back to you.
Rana Novini at Jersey City Medical Center. Rana, thank you very much for your reporting. News 4 was there as the more than 4-hour-long lockdown of Jersey City Public Schools was lifted, much to the joy of parents and for students. Those anxious parents reunited with nearly 30,000 students. Every dot on this map represents a campus that was forced to shelter in place because of this shootout here. News 4's Andrew Sipp continue our team coverage. He's outside of Snyder High School. And Andrew, you're just a couple blocks away from where this shooting took place.
That's right, Stephan, and you'll see more evidence of that in just a moment. Snyder High School, about 1,000 of the students that you just mentioned, dismissed hours later than usual, many of them into the waiting arms of moms and dads.
Come on!
the lockdown ended with hugs.
I'm going home. I'm taking them home. They safe. Shield, safe, secure.
But not before thousands of kids in the Jersey City school system, locked inside under emergency protocol, left so many families anxious.
All these parents out here, they want their kids.
Teachers were stuck at work. So were administrators. Even New York Jets wide receiver Quincy Enunwa, who happened to be reading to kids stuck inside. But the littlest children seemed remarkably unfazed. What were you doing the last few hours?
We was reading books and doing math stuff.
Did they tell you what was going on?
Yes.
What'd they say?
It was a lockdown.
Does that happen before?
Yes.
So you're kind of used to it.
I was surprised that nobody was crying when I came. They were just ready to go home.
Well, at first I heard police sirens.
One older student endured especially scary moments. This is Christopher Drummond's cell phone video. He happened to be inside his guidance counselor's office when the gunfire erupted outside.
I didn't know what direction the shots were coming from, so I thought that it was best to duck because I don't want to be caught in any type of crossfire.
Drummond is a high school senior here. He's a first responder himself, already a volunteer firefighter. That's the latest outside of Snyder High School. Sending it back to you, Steph.
Okay, Andrew Siff, thank you very much. Those schools were locked down. Remember, this is a residential neighborhood. There's homes, businesses, apartments. People were out on the street. All of this going into lockdown. People living or working near the site of this shooting told to shelter in place and stay away from the police activity. Let's go to News 4's Anjali Hemphill, who continues tonight's team coverage. Anjali, this neighborhood in some areas feeling more like a war zone.
Well, Stefan, this all started out as any normal day with people shopping and working along this usually busy street when suddenly they found themselves trapped inside stores. Others could hear the gunfire from blocks away. 3 agonizing hours of constant gunshots. That's what George Porch could hear from inside this Salvation Army store on Martin Luther King Drive Tuesday afternoon.
We were sitting there shopping, and all we heard was a hail of gunfire.
Several shoppers laid on the floor until police officers could take them to safety as a gun battle raged on 1 block over.
I got on the ground, I called my sister, I called my brother, and let them all know what was going on.
Others could hear the shots from inside their homes several streets away.
I live down on Garfield and I could hear the shots, and I literally ran and hid in my closet.
As SWAT teams and heavily armed police officers descended on this Jersey City neighborhood, people nearby were warned to take cover.
But you need to go in the house. Go be safe, seriously.
Parents separated from their children for hours as schools nearby went on lockdown. This bus driver stranded with more than a dozen of her students.
They worry. They're scared, worried about some of the kids have parents in other schools, don't know if they're out of school yet. Parents that are cops don't know if they're okay yet.
A usually busy and bustling community turned into a war zone as people watched and listened in total disbelief.
All my years in Jersey City, never heard anything like this.
All right, several streets near the scene remain shut down and people are still urged to avoid this area. Stefan?
Anjali Hemphill, thank you very much. Some more disturbing news tonight. We heard that extra security personnel will be at Bayonne High School tomorrow. This is after someone posted a threat on social media threatening gun violence at the school. The threat referenced today's shooting here in Jersey City. In a strongly worded message tonight, the superintendent says that person who posted that message will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. He also said the perpetrator will be expelled if it is a student. Now, as we've shown you, today's shootout unfolded in the heart of Jersey City's Hasidic community. Now, because of that and the concern that the attack may have been targeted, the NYPD says they are moving extra units to synagogues and other Jewish buildings. They say they're doing this simply out of an abundance of caution, not an actual specific threat. We're joining you back out live here in Jersey City. As I mentioned, the police scene still here. Officers beginning the very early stages of this investigation, trying to get to the bottom of this shooting that ended with 6 people killed. You can stay with us for the very latest on this. We'll have more information throughout the night and coming up in the morning on Today in New York. That's the latest reporting live here in Jersey City on MLK Drive. I'm Stephen Holt. News 4 New York. Stacey, back to you.
All right, Stephen, thanks to you and all of our crews, many of whom have been out there for hours today. We're going to continue our coverage right now on NBCNewYork.com. On the app, you can see raw video and scenes from earlier today. Let's turn now to the weather. Today, spring-like 60-degree temperatures. Unfortunately, they're a thing of the past. The rain is going to be turning to snow, and the mercury is going to be plunging. We tried to enjoy it while we could today, Janice.
It was hard with the rain, certainly.
Yes.
Well, we're already down to 43 degrees in New York City. Look at what happens with the wind chills. The feels-like temperatures will go from the mid-30s at midnight to the upper 20s by 5 a.m. We'll have to bundle up. It's going to be a cold start to the day. Here's a look at radar and satellite. It's been snowing up around Monticello for several hours. Still raining in the city with temperatures in the 40s, but eventually it does cool down. And all that rain will change to snow. And this is what your morning commute might look like. And coming up, I'm going to let you know just how much snow we can expect in our exclusive Storm Team 4 forecast coming up.
Okay, Janice, we'll see you in just a little bit. Thank you. We still have a lot more ahead at 11, including more breaking news. Another deadly shooting. The search underway right now for a killer and what we have just learned about the victim. Plus, tunnel takedown. The rush hour arrest caught on camera. We're following some breaking news in Staten Island where a 30-year-old man has been shot to death. This happened just after 8:30 tonight along Osgood Avenue in the Clifton neighborhood. Police telling us someone shot the man multiple times in the chest. He was rushed to the hospital where he later died. Law enforcement sources tell us the victim is a known criminal with a violent past. Police are now searching for the suspect. And we are learning more about a police takedown at the Holland Tunnel. Officers arrested a driver in the middle of rush hour traffic tonight. It's unclear why he was arrested. You see it unfolding there. This happened on the Manhattan side of the tunnel. At the same time, the shootout in Jersey City was happening. Police tell us the two were not connected to each other. We have an update now on a heartbreaking story in Newark. 2 children were stabbed inside of a home there today, and we've learned that they are brothers. The older victim, who is 15 years old, has died. The Essex County prosecutor says the other brother, who is 11 years old, suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Reports of the stabbings near Highland and Park Avenues came in around 11 this morning. So far, no arrests, but police have taken at least 5 people in for questioning in this. In Pennsylvania tonight, President Trump slammed the FBI agents who investigated his 2016 presidential campaign.
They've destroyed the lives of people that were great people, that are still great people. Their lives have been destroyed by scum, okay, by scum.
The president held a rally in Hershey tonight. This was a day after the Justice Department's own inspector general cleared the FBI of political bias. Now, the president also referred to the impeachment investigation as a big, fat, disgusting fraud. Earlier today, House Democrats announced 2 articles of impeachment accusing the president of soliciting foreign interference in next year's election. The first article charges him with abuse of power. The second, obstruction of Congress.
If we did not hold him accountable, he would continue to undermine our election.
The full House of Representatives could vote on impeachment as soon as next week. But here's the thing. Removing the president requires the approval of 2/3 of the Senate, which means that a significant number of Republicans would have to jump to the Democrat side on this.
Well, the rain's coming down still in the city. The temperatures aren't cold enough for snow just yet. It's 43 degrees right now in Central Park. The winds have now changed direction out of the west-northwest, so now we have wind chill. It feels like the 30s out there right now. Let's check out the wind that's happening across the tri-state. Earlier today, we had a southwest wind and the temperatures were in the 50s to near 60. Now, coming in out of the northwest, and some Arctic air will follow that tomorrow. But it already feels like that in Monticello. 25 degrees is the wind chill. 28 is what it feels like in Newburgh, and 42 in Bridgeport. Live Storm Tracker 4 is showing rain and snow on the radar. The rain in green, that's in the city and along the coast. The temperatures are still warm, but north and west, you are getting snow in the Catskills and Poconos. It's been snowing in Monticello for a couple of hours. Right now in Thompson, Lumberland, and over towards Dingman's Ferry. Even a mix of precipitation now over parts of western Connecticut. North of I-84 is where you're going to see most of the snow this evening. But that's not the the only spot. That band of snow stretches all the way down into northern Alabama and Mississippi. They were getting snow in Huntsville and Oxford, Mississippi this evening. Here's what we expect, and here's what you can expect as we go through time. The snow does come through early in the morning, and it lasts for a couple of hours, but by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's moved on. Eastern sections of Long Island, you're likely to see the snow there the longest, and you could possibly see upwards of 3 inches there, maybe even some pockets of a little bit more. But after that, the weather's pretty quiet around the tri-state going into Thursday. It's just cold. Winter weather advisory for slick roads for the city. Long Island points to the north and east over Connecticut and parts of the Hudson Valley, Westchester County. That's for tomorrow morning. How much snow? Well, the farther east you go, the more you're likely to see, and that's in that range of 1 to 3. There could possibly be 3 inches in parts of Long Island and Connecticut. The city is straddling the 1-inch line, and back to the north and west, even though you're getting snow now, an inch or so is possible because you're going to run out of moisture there and probably not going to see too much. So 39 degrees is our high temperature for tomorrow, turning colder, but turning nice and sunny by the afternoon. Here's a look at the temperature profile. 35. It's a cold one on Thursday. Rain is back Friday and Saturday. So are the 50s for high temperatures. Back to you.
Well, we could all use a little bit of good news tonight. Here it is for you. A rescue dog in New Jersey is en route to his forever home in Colorado. This is all thanks to the magic of social media. Nonprofit organization Stray from the Heart rescued Kenny from Puerto Rico, where he was living in a cage and he'd been used for breeding for the past 11 years. The organization found him a new home in Denver, but they needed someone to escort the little guy on his flight yesterday. Actress Kristen Bell, along with hundreds of other people, shared an Instagram post about Kenny's dilemma. So tonight, Kenny's escort met him at Newark Airport to take him to his forever home. What a cute little guy, and he needed that rain sticker today. We'll be right back.
The Spectrum Sports Desk is brought to you by Spectrum Mobile. Go to SpectrumMobile.com today.
Garrett Cole has an offer from the Yankees and a decision to make. It's believed the Yanks' pitch exceeds Steven Strasburg's $245 million deal. Yes, landing the pitcher is the Yankees' top priority this offseason. Bringing back Didi Gregorius, not as high on their wish list, so the shortstop heads to the Phillies on a 1-year deal. It's said to be worth $14 million. Didi reunites with manager Joe Girardi. Meanwhile, Yankees GM Brian Cashman says of that offer to Garrett Cole, we're in the heavy hitters category.
All we can do is make sure that we, signal and provide what we're willing to do. And then he's got to factor that in with all the other opportunities that present themselves. And so at some point, the Cole family will make a decision. And then, we live with the results one way or the other.
Angels and Dodgers also pushing hard for Cole's services. Meanwhile, the Knicks on their way to a 10th straight loss in Portland, while the Devils lost their 6th in a row in Dallas. College hoops, St. John's tops Brown 82-71, but Mustafa Heron left the game with an ankle injury. That's your look at sports. We'll be right back after this.
30-degree temperature drop and snow.
A snowy morning commute. Watch out for slick spots on the roads. Most of that snow will be over before noon unless you're on the east end of Long Island. It will hang out a little bit longer there. Generally 1 to 3 inches with the higher amounts possible north and east. The city, maybe right around an inch. And then colder weather for a day or so.
All right, then. We're up and down once again. All right, thanks, Janice. Thank you for joining us tonight. The Tonight Show is next. Today in New York begins at 4 a.m. Good night.